Oh my God, I am so excited. My iPad Pro is on board for delivery today. Okay, so I must admit that I've already actually unboxed the pen because it came last week and I couldn't wait and I tried to use it on my old iPad. Fun fact, it doesn't work on an old iPad because this pen is specifically designed for the iPad Pro. All right, we need something to open this with. There is actually a tab. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I did get the Apple iPad Pro 11-inch second generation in 256 gigabytes. The main reason why I got this iPad was specifically for my business. I wanted a place where I could do all of my planning. I wanted a place where I could take notes for things that I'm learning. I wanted a place where I could essentially just scribble out my ideas because I feel like I love digital planning, but also then I have so many different journals. The iPad to me was the solution to get everything in one place. But the biggest point of attraction for me definitely was the fact that it came with a pen. Because even though I do love to type, I really love to just draw out my ideas sometimes because ultimately it does make me feel more creative. But essentially what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go set it up, I'm going to play with all of the apps for the next couple of days, and then I'm gonna come back and show you exactly what's on my iPad and exactly how I'm going to use it for my life and for my business. So I really am hoping that the iPad is going to be exactly the same as the phone in that when you set it up, it actually can just take everything from a recent iPad. Bring your current iPad, iPhone near this iPad to set it up. Okay, perfect. So I've had a couple of days to play around with the iPad and I am absolutely loving it. When I first tried to do the transfer, pretty much everything went across except for all of my apps, which was pretty annoying because obviously I then needed to not only download them all again, but re-log into everything again, which sometimes I feel like you need to do anyway. But it was a really good opportunity for me to just curate my iPad exactly how I wanted to use it. I'm so used to just having everything jump from one phone to another, and I feel like we can really build up digital clutter that way. And so what I did was I just really thought about what I wanted to use my iPad for, which was obviously creativity, productivity, and essentially a little bit of entertainment. And so I really have curated my iPad with all of the apps that I'm going to use for those three purposes. So I did a little bit of an unboxing, but now I kind of do want to go on and show you exactly what's on my iPad. Before I do that, I just want to let you know about the accessories because obviously I did get the pen or pencil, I think they call it, which I mentioned to you prior to this, but I am actually going to be getting what's called the Magic Keyboard. Here in Australia, the Magic Keyboard isn't actually going to be out till May, but the reason why I didn't get the previous version of the keyboard is because I really like the way the new Magic Keyboard has a trackpad. So I will be waiting for that. I've also been looking all over the internet for a case for this thing. I really hate the 3-fold cases, the ones with 3 folds at the front. I don't know why, but they look really like nano-ish to me. I don't know if that's even a thing. I'm trying to look for, I don't know, a bit more of a sleeker looking case, but I've still yet to find one that I like. If you have an iPad or if you know of any places to get good cases, please do let me know. But let's jump into my iPad and I will show you exactly what I've got on here. Okay, so this is the background that I have for my iPad. I did draw this picture myself. Look, I know it is pretty horrendous and they kind of look like boobs, but I was just playing around with one of the apps, Procreate, which I'll talk to you about in just a moment. And I don't know, I've never really drawn anything in my life and I was pretty proud of it, even though looking at it now, it doesn't look so great. And so I did put that as my background. But pretty much what I want to do is start here on the home screen. So I really like to keep my home screen pretty minimalist. The apps that I do have on here are pretty stock standard and I probably won't go through any of these because I think you'll be really familiar with all of them. I've obviously got the YouTube app, the Spotify app, the Pinterest app, which by the way is my absolute favorite app. I have podcasts, Google, which is just sort of Google Chrome, and then I do have as well Google Drive. So this is pretty much the app that I use for my entire business. Like this is where I keep all of my files for all of my programs. It's where I keep all of my files for all of my courses. It's how I correspond with my clients. It's literally how I do everything in business. So pretty much anything I use in my business organization wise, it lives in Google Drive. I use Google Drive every single day. And then the other apps I have on the home screen are obviously the Notes app, which this is pretty much where I take all of my notes. I have so many different folders that I use, but I have so many different notes that I use. However, because I'm now using the pen a lot more and drawing a lot more, and I'm trying to keep it all in one place, there is another Notes app, which I'm going to show you in just a moment, which I'm pretty much going to try transfer all of these notes across. I also have the App Store and the Photos app as well. On my little stuck bar down here, what is this even called? I don't know. I just have my calendar because I use my calendar a lot. Every single day in my business, I am using my calendar. So obviously that's one of the main things that I have there as well. I do have email. However, this is only my personal email, not my business email, because I try to only use my business email on my computer. So obviously I'm not getting too overwhelmed. And then I have files as well, which is just basically the backup for Google Drive. I don't really use it that much, to be honest. Then over here is where I have all of my app folders. So I have productivity, photo and video, social networking, finance, things, entertaining, and design. So in the productivity folder, basically this is pretty much everything that I am using for my business. Like I said, I'm really trying to stick to a digital minimalist kind of vibe with my iPad. So I haven't gone too crazy with the apps that I use. But basically Asana is obviously the one that I use most. Now, in my most recent video where I showed you my content planning schedule, a lot of you asked me what Asana was. Asana is this app here. You can see that it's got the 3 dots and the white background, and it is a project management system. So essentially Asana is what I use for my entire business, for planning, for all of my content schedules, for all of my launches, for pretty much everything that I do. This is just the project management system that I do. I do have an Asana video where I take you through my Asana, but if you'd like an updated version, please just let me know. But if you do want to see, say, like my content workflow, that is in the most recent video that I did upload to my YouTube channel, so definitely check that out. I also have my YouTube Studio. This is just the app that has all of your YouTube analytics and things like that. I have reminders, which sometimes I'll just be like, hey Siri, remind me to blah, 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 blah. And then also I have Planoly, which is the app that I use to plan all of my Instagram content. And again, I spoke about this in my most recent content planning video. So if you wanted to check that out, then definitely go do so. Now, the next app that I wanted to show you in the productivity is Notability. Now, this is the app that I am using for my to-do list and pretty much the app that I said I'm gonna change all of my notes over. Obviously, I've only had this iPad for a couple of days now, so I pretty much don't have any notes. But before this, my planning and note-taking system was I had a book where I took all of my notes, and I had my notes app where I typed all of my notes. My goal is to pretty much get all of that happening in this Notability app. Now, there's a lot of people who talk about Notability, and then there's a lot of people who talk about GoodNotes. I haven't tried GoodNotes personally. This app was $15, so because I've already paid for it and downloaded it, I'm just gonna stick with it. But anyway, basically this Notability is just basically a mix of like my project planning, which again, I have showed you in a recent video. I'm already starting to plan my content calendar for the following month. I've done some YouTube YouTube data analysis. I have my daily to-do list, which is just like ongoing daily, kind of like a bullet journal style, I guess. I honestly thought by getting this, my handwriting was going to increase and get better, but just for anyone who was thinking that as well, it actually doesn't. If you've got bad handwriting, it's going to be bad on the iPad as well. But yeah, so essentially I'm going to eventually bring all of my note taking into here. I kept the Pages app, I haven't used it yet, and that is pretty much my productivity. So then the next folder, again, pretty minimalist, is my photo and video. So again, if you watched my content video, you will know that I edit all of my photos in Lightroom and I edit all of my videos. So even the video you're watching right now, the footage color grading is edited in ViscoCam. So basically the way I use ViscoCam for footage is I will just go into the app, go into the plus button, I will go over to the video section. Let me try find a piece of raw footage in here for you. These are all edited ones, so you can see the difference here in these two pieces of footage from my last video. But basically I will just bring in a video, edit it, and then when it comes to YouTube, and then just pretty much put the color grade on. That is exactly how I do my editing for my video color grading. And then how I edit my photos in Lightroom is I actually use presets. I'm very not good at, editing photos myself. I don't have the patience, I don't have the time. And so I did buy presets from Travel in Her Shoes. Her name is Aggie. These are all the presets here. This isn't going to be a tutorial on Lightroom because obviously otherwise it would get too long. But just to show you how I edit my photos, this is one that I took of myself getting ready, is I will go into the preset section and I always use the preset. It's called Malibu Pure. As you can see, it always comes out just way too, I don't know, like taken too much of the color out of it, I guess. And so basically what I will always then do is also come into, press done, into the lighting section, and I will bring the shadows down a little bit. That's honestly how I edit my photos. It is so basic. Again, I don't really have the patience or the time to do this kind of stuff myself, so presets are a lifesaver, and I will leave the ones that I use linked down below. And obviously there's the camera there as well. Social networking, I don't feel like I need to go through these. These are, pretty stock standard. I have Messenger, I have Instagram, and I have Facebook. I use Facebook pretty much 100% exclusively for work because that's where all of my groups are, for my membership, for my group coaching programs, and everything else in between. So I don't use Facebook for anything other than my groups. Instagram, scroll a little bit. Messenger, obviously is just Messenger. I have finances on here. I have my PayPal. I have my Stripe, which is just essentially the app that I use, for my business. Just to give me all my data. Made $44 today. And this, Stripe's a really good app. Again, I'm not going to kind of go through. If you want to know, if you wanted a whole video on like finances in business or something like that, then please do just let me know. The next app that I did want to show you is entertaining, or an app folder, I guess. I have Netflix and my Kindle app. I don't think I've actually even logged into either of these as of yet. But these are probably, I put Netflix on here because when I travel, when we can travel again, I will probably not bring my laptop. I will probably just bring my iPad because obviously it's so much lighter and so much easier. And once I have that keyboard, it's going to be so much easier for me to kind of travel around with. But obviously I have the Kindle app as well. I am trying to pretty much just read digitally because obviously like save paper and all that. But yeah, I don't know. I pretty much prefer to listen to books anyway. All right. So then the final one that I have is this design. Now, the first app that I did get was this Procreate. I know these kind of look cool, but to be honest, I sketched these. Like I've just been sketching pictures. So basically I'll get a picture from Pinterest, put down the layer, sketch over it, and then delete that layer. I'm not going to post these anywhere. Obviously they're not my designs, but this has just been something that I've been doing for fun. I mean, I did create this, but Procreate is just like a drawing app. It's an app that you can create little quotes and stuff. It's an app that you can just fiddle around with, make your own little iPhone backgrounds and stuff. To be honest, I guess a lot of people use this for artistic purposes. I'm honestly using it just to like doodle on and just have fun. fun. But the app that I do use mostly for design and for design in my business is Canva. So this is the app that I use to create pretty much everything for, all of my thumbnails, all of my course titles, all of my promo cards, literally everything that I post into my group. So this was a little thumbnail analysis that I did in my Facebook membership where we were talking about YouTube that month. Yeah, pretty much just anything that I'm using graphic design wise in my business is created in Canva. And obviously the good thing is now I can do that on my iPad, and just like play around with it here as well. So now final thoughts on the iPad and whether or not you should get the iPad Pro, because obviously there is also the option to get the iPad Air and it is so much cheaper than getting the iPad Pro. I had an iPad Air before, and the reason why I went to Pro was obviously because of the pencil rather than the one that I had before. You couldn't use any of the pencils on because it was so old. To be honest, I think I could have got the newer Air with the first generation pencil and it would have been just as amazing as this one. If you are someone who really wants an iPad, but maybe the iPad Pro is just not in your budget at this stage, I would 100% say get the Air and then get the iPad pencil, the first generation. This is the Pro and the second generation. I really don't see the difference in the iPads from the old, I'm talking like 5-year-old iPad that I had before. It worked perfectly. It had lasted that long. The only reason why I upgraded was because I really wanted that pencil, because I'm going to be transferring all of my note taking to a digital version. But that's it for me. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If any of those apps you want me to talk about a little bit more, say like, how I edit my Instagram photos, although I just showed you pretty much exactly what I do and I don't know what else I could tell you. But if there's anything else that you did want me to discuss, then of course always just let me know in the comments and I can for sure talk about that somewhere on the internet. But thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. This was my first unboxing that I've ever done, so I hope it was good because I love these videos and I hope I did the category justice. All right, everyone, I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.